guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lungi Letabete, or you can just call me Lungi. Today's makeup look is for Valentine's Day. Since we are in the month of love, it is a step-by-step video of how you can achieve this look from skin to eyes, and yeah, the whole shebang, ready for date night. So yeah, stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to start with my skin makeup today, and then I'll end off with my eyes. I haven't been using foundation for a very long time. I think if you follow me on social media or follow me on Instagram, then you know that I've mentioned this a couple of times. So I'm going to show you guys how I contour my face so that it looks like a full coverage look without foundation, without the added weight of foundation, especially because it's still hot. So I'm gonna start off by contouring my face, and I am using the Revlon, what is this? This is the Revlon Color Stay Life Proof Foundation Stick. I'm specifically the shade Cappuccino. I just like the undertone of Cappuccino. So I start by placing it like so, just under my cheekbone, around my forehead, and I also place it by my nose, at the bottom there, under my lip, so that my bottom lip looks fuller, and just by my jawline. Right, so then I'm gonna start blending off this look, and I like blending my contour with a brush. I want to make sure that I use the brush and I blend into just the beginning of my hairline, and I'm blending using a tapping motion. So I'm tapping the product into the skin. As you can see, when I blend the contour, especially on my cheek, I blend it and I pull it towards the lip, and that's basically where it stops. Okay, so I don't want to pull the makeup too far down my neck, especially if you're going to be wearing clothing that comes up to your neck, or even a blazer. You don't want it rubbing on your clothing too much. So I'm just going to stop it just where my neck begins. And yeah, then to blend out the nose contour. So with blending out your makeup, the only way that you can make it really seamless is by making sure that you hydrate your brushes. So I use the Nivea Rose Care face mist. It's a hydrating face mist, and I just spritz it on my brushes. You can rub it on a towel and then start blending. It just helps you blend the product out easier. So as I was blending the nose contour, I just made sure that I pull it all the way to just under my brow. Again, in the long run, it's just gonna make it look a little more blended and more seamless. All right, so once we've done the darker shade, then I'm gonna move on to the lighter shade. So I always go with a shade that's my exact skin tone in this regard. And I've just emptied out my concealers, but I am using the Allergel Pro Concealers in the shades Fawn and the Yellow Color Corrector. So I'm just blending out, I'm placing my skin tone concealer, the rest of my face. So first on my jawline, then my chin, just above the darker shade that I placed. On my forehead and a little bit on my nose. Don't put too much of your color concealer on your nose, because you're still going to put a lighter shade on top of that. So I also like placing this shade of concealer around my mouth, because I do have pigmentation around my mouth area. Alright, so then I'm going to use a beauty blender and I'm just going to blend it up. blend the side of your jaw, you want to make sure that you blend it up towards the darker shade that you had placed previously. And the bit that's above the jaw, you want to make sure that you blend it downwards towards the darker shade, just to soften it up. So with the forehead area, you blend the concealer that's your skin tone with the beauty blender, but then you take the brush that you had used to blend out the darker shade and you blend those two together where they meet. Alright, so I'm gonna go back into the concealer and I just want to cover up the spots that haven't been covered. So my pigmentation, which is mostly on the side of my cheeks. Alright, so once I'm done with blending in the concealer that's my skin tone, I'm then going to go in with a lighter shade concealer. This is the yellow color corrector. It is the Elegant Pro Concealer, the yellow color corrector specifically. And I'm just going to place that under my eyes, a slight amount on my forehead, on my chin as well. But I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys. So on my forehead, just a little bit to focus the light in the center of my face. And I'm applying the concealer under my eyes in like a triangular shape. So the entire reason why you apply it in a triangular form is because you want to maintain the chisel of your cheekbone, but you also want to lift your eyes up, which is why you bring the concealer a little bit higher on the side of your eyes, and you maintain that even when you're blending. So I use 3 different items to blend: a big beauty sponge and a smaller one that's for like the more precise areas. I also use the Real Techniques brush. This is number 402. I get it at Dischem and Clicks, if I'm not mistaken. This is a setting brush, but I really like it for blending concealer as well. So then I use the smaller beauty blender just to blend the areas where I want the concealer to stay exactly as I've placed it, which is my cupid's bow and my nose, as well as the inner corner of my eye. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Then I'm gonna use my brush and I'm just gonna start blending the concealer under my eyes from the outer parts. And as you can tell, when I blend it by the eye, I make sure that I carry it over so that my eye still looks like lifted. So I'm really happy with the way that the blend is going so far. I'm just gonna go in with the smaller beauty blender once again, and I'm gonna blend in the inner corner of the eye. So as you can tell, as much as I'm blending the inner corner of the eye, I'm still carrying the product over and lifting the eye. And then we're gonna go back to the shade of the concealer that's your skin tone, and we're gonna place that on your eyelid. I added a bit of yellow as well. And I'm gonna use my 402 Real Techniques brush and just blend that in. Alright, so now that you've put coverage on your entire face, including your eyelids, now it's time to brighten up your under eyes. And I like using 2 concealers for this. First is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealers. This is the shade True Beige. And then I like using the Benefit Cakeless Concealer. This is the shade number 6. So these 2 shades are what I use for brightening up my under eyes. First, to start off with the NYX concealer, and it just gives a really beautiful yellow color, but it dries up really fast. So as soon as you apply it, you need to be blending it in. And I like blending these in at the same time Or if you don't do that, one side ends up like being perfectly blended while the other side is like difficult to blend because it's dried down. So as you can see, while you're blending your concealer, your nose contour is being compromised. So I blend my nose contour as well. So the brush that I used for my nose contour is the one that I then go back in with, back and forth, just to make sure that it remains there. Okay, so then I'm gonna go in with my Benefit concealer, and this is super bright. So just like a dot of this in the inner corner of your eye. I also like doing a very small amount on my forehead and my chin, but this also dries down quite fast. So first I start off by blending the chin and forehead, and then I go in with the beauty blender once more and I blend in the inner corner of the eye. So if you're using a different type of concealer, you want to make sure that it is a little bit tacky before you start blending it in, because that just helps you get better coverage and more out of the concealer. Alright, so now that I'm happy with the brightness of my under eye, I'm gonna go in with the Benefit Cakeless Concealer once again, but this is number 11, and I just want to intensify my contour. So I just place that under my cheekbone, a very small amount, and on my forehead as well. And I just blend this in really quickly. As you can tell, it just helps you like intensify your concealer a little bit. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna be baking my face. I don't really bake, but I set my concealer. That's what I prefer to call it, because I don't put the powder on for too long. You don't want that cakey effect. So today I'm using the Huda Beauty. What is this called again? This is called the this is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. What a mouthful. It is in the shade Pound Cake. If not for this concealer, I also like using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. So I just make sure that nothing has creased. I blend it in with my beauty blender, and then I dip my beauty blender into my concealer, my setting powder. Make sure there's not too much product on your sponge, and then I press that into the skin. So you want to press it and blend it as you're pressing it. I'm also carrying it over onto my nose, so there isn't like a defined line as to where the powder started and ended. Okay, so then I do the other side of the face. First, you start by blending in your concealer to make sure nothing has set. And once you've done that, then you go in with your translucent powder. Again, make sure there's not too much on the sponge. And then you place it on and blend it in, like literally tap it into the skin. Alright, so now that our under eyes are set, I'm going to be setting the rest of my face. So I'm going to use my bigger beauty blender, and I just want to blend the concealer again in the rest of the face to make sure nothing has like creased with my frowning. And then I place a little bit of setting powder on the sponge, and I just lightly tap the rest of the face. I also like placing setting powder over my eyebrows because they do get quite glossy when I don't. But because you're using such little setting powder, it's not going to look and feel heavy. Okay, so the last place to set is my eyelids. I'm going to go in with my 402 Real Techniques brush once again, and I just want to blend out the concealer that's on my eyelids first. Right, once I've done that, before I do too much, I'm just going to put a little bit of powder on the brush and then set that part of the face as well. Okay, so halfway done with the skin makeup. Now I am going to then move on to the face powder. Now I like using, and I've been using this for a long time, this is the MAC Studio Fix powder. I am the shade NC45. As you can see, I've already like reached pan. I'm going to use a good fluffy brush, a nice thick condensed fluffy brush, and I'm just going to swipe it on the powder. I'm going to place the powder on the entire face, just lightly everywhere. This is a step that you can do without. I just like placing it because like I like extra coverage. And you're done. It's not too much powder. You don't want to like make your face too powdery. Does that make sense? So then I'm going to intensify my contour using the Juvia's Place Bronzed Bronzer. This is in the shade Tan. I really like these because like you get a lighter version and a darker version of the same shade, which is great. So I'm just going to use a fluffy brush, dip it into the lighter version, and I build up the contour a little bit more. I also like placing the contour under my cheekbone, well, under my jawline. And then I'm gonna take a dome shaped eyeshadow brush. This is the brush. And I'm just gonna dip into the bronzer again, but this is specifically for my nose, which is why I'm using a smaller brush. Just slightly putting more definition to the nose contour. Okay, so all done with that. I am then going to move on to highlighting. So I'm going to use two different highlighters today. The one is the MAC Cosmetics Gold Deposit Highlighter. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to be using the Stila highlighters as well. This is the shade Kitten. This is a more champagne shade, whereas this is obviously like super gold. So that's why I like mixing the two, because I feel like one without the other is not as effective. Obviously, I feel like you guys already know where to place highlighter. Just on top of your cheekbone, but super light amount. You don't want it to be too overwhelming. And then a little bit on the forehead is what I like, because I feel like light naturally hits you here, so I just like intensifying that. A little bit on the chin, one side of the chin, not the whole chin. And then I like using a smaller brush to place highlighter on the nose, and you don't want to put too much. Then I go in with this Stila Kitten highlighter, and I place just a small amount on top of basically everywhere I place gold deposits, and I put a little bit more of this on the nose. You can also always put highlighter on your cupid's bow, but obviously not too much. And then the last bit of my skin makeup is blush. Now I have been loving the Switch Beauty blushes. I've had this for so long, and as you can tell, like I've been using them quite a bit, but I like using the MAC 137S brush, and I dip into whatever shade I like from the pan. So I'm gonna dip into Flush and Havana, a little bit of Sunset Blur, and I place a very small amount of blush. A little goes a long way. I place it exactly where I've placed my contour, especially because this is a Valentine's Day look, so blush is necessary. Alright, so now that we are done with skin makeup, I'm going to spritz that with a hydrating spray. I'm going to use the Nivea Rose Care Hydrating Face Mist. And you just allow that to set a little bit before moving on to eyes. Alright, so now we're going to start with the eyeshadow. So for today's look, I'm going to go with something that's going to suit my pink hair. That's an honorary of Valentine's Day or the month of love, okay? Okay, so I'm going to be dipping into two different eyeshadow palettes. The first one is my palette. So this is the Scarlet Hill times Lungile Tabete Energy eyeshadow palette, and it has really beautiful colors, as you can tell. And then I'm also going to be dipping into a palette that I love. This is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude Naughty, whatever, eyeshadow palette, but it also has really beautiful colors, which I think would go well with today's look. So I'm going to start off by creating a bit of shadow on the outer corner of the eye, and I'm going to dip into the Tabete Energy palette. First I'm going to dip into 0702, and I'm just going to start placing that on the outer corner of the eye. I want to start with a very light blend, and we're going to be creating a really beautiful creased eye today. I think like it suits all the super beautiful edgy looks. If you want to go for something a little more dramatic, but if you want to go for something lighter, then you can just put one or two versions of the same color on the eye, blend that together, and you're good to go. So I'm using a dome shaped brush, and I'm blending the outer corner of the eye. So I'm going to place it, so I place it on the lid, and then I blend the outer parts of the shade. Then I'm going to go in with a smaller brush. This is just so that I can pack in color, specifically at the outermost corner of the eye. So I'm going in with the shade Naughty from the Huda Beauty palette. So it just makes the eye look a bit more interesting. So always remember to continue blending. So I'm going to keep packing in this color until I feel like I have enough. And when you're taking the color with your brush from the pan, you want to make sure that you tap your brush so that you don't have any like fallout onto your eyes, or as little fallout as possible. So when I'm blending out the outermost part of the eyeshadow, as you can tell, I went in again with 2702 from the Tabete Energy eyeshadow palette. This is just so it creates a really beautiful ombre, and it looks super blended. So the trick with really beautiful eyeshadow is just to make sure that you blend as much as you can, especially the outermost parts of the eyeshadow, because that's what is blending in with the rest of your skin makeup. Okay, so then I'm gonna go in with the shade 27 Gang from the Tabete eyeshadow palette, and I'm just gonna blend that in further into the inner corner of the eye, more so the center of my lid. So this is a really beautiful burnt orange shade, and it's just going to create a really beautiful transition in the color. So I go back and forth with the other shades that we've used just to make sure that everything like stays super blended and it looks like a seamless transition of colors. If there's any fallout of the eyeshadow, just make sure that you clean it up as you go. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the shade Naughty from the Huda Beauty palette, and I'm just going to place that on my waterline so that the entire look looks completely seamless. Okay, so now it is time to cut the crease. Now for cutting the crease, I use just a flat brush. I use the specific brush from MAC. It is number 212, so that's the flat brush that I use, and it's really nice and thin, but I also like pressing it to make sure that the bristles are all together and it's really straight. And then I dip into a concealer. Today I'm going to be using the Benefit Cakeless Concealer in the shade number 6 to cut the crease. It's a really beautiful beigey color. And I'm just gonna get a bit of that on the brush. And then take a mirror and look down as you cut the crease, just to make sure that like it's a really beautiful straight line. Okay, cool. So the trick with making sure that you have really beautiful cut crease eyeshadow looks is to try and make it as symmetrical as possible with the other eye. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with the same flat brush that I've been using, and I'm gonna use this to place the eyeshadow on the line so that it is as precise as possible. I am gonna be going in with the shade Filthy, which is a beautiful lilac-y pink from the Huda Beauty palette, and you want to make sure that you place the product right on the line. So this camera, I'm just going to zoom in with it a little bit, and then I'm using the brush, and this is going to help me just place it on the line properly. Always want to make sure that your brush is completely flat. All right, then we take a fluffy brush, or you can use your finger, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Shameless. It's really easy to use your finger when you're placing glitters, and I'm just gonna slide that onto the eye. So then we're gonna use our fluffy brush, use the same shade, and pack that on the rest of the eyeshadow. So remember, you want to make sure that you clean up your under eye if there's any fallout as you go. So then we are going to use the shade 0702 from the Tabete Energy palette, and we're going to blend the eyeshadow together wherever there's like any separation in the colors, and then intensify our outer corner of the eye again with the shade Naughty from the Huda Beauty palette. And then this look, we're gonna throw it over that side and be done. Okay, so guys, this is pretty much almost the end of the look. I'm just gonna finish it out with gloss on my lip, a really beautiful glossy pink nudie color, and then add on lashes, do my brows, which I'm all gonna do off camera, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, so that is the final look. I really love it. I feel like it's really cute, it's flirty. Obviously, this look is inspired by my pink hair that is in honor of the month of love, February, which is also my birthday month. But yeah, I really love it. If you want to dial down this look a little bit, you don't have to do a creased eye. You can just do one shadow on your eyes if that's what you're more comfortable with, but definitely lashes. I just feel like it adds that extra element of flirtiness to your makeup look. I also kept it quite nude with my lips. I used the Juvia's Palette's Bronzed Sugar lip gloss. It is a beautiful nude pinky look which works with everything else, and yeah, I really love it. I feel like I am ready for date night. Alright, so that is it for today's makeup look. I absolutely love it. I love how it's super dewy, although I still have like really good coverage. So I hope you guys try out just doing your skin makeup without using the foundation trick. I've been using it for so long and it's just like the best thing after sliced bread. But yeah, I also really love the eyeshadow. I think it's super floaty and it obviously works well with my hair. If you want to go with something a little more muted, you can obviously always use like bronze and browns and golds on your eyeshadow instead of the pinks and purples that I've used. But yeah, let me know what you think of today's makeup look, and I'll see you guys in the next video. My hair was colored by Deborah King and she did a stunning job. What do you guys think? Do you think pink is like my color, or should I go back to like brown and bronze and high buns? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah.